Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Studio B. Again, I'm not Pastor Marcus D. Holman, but I am another MDH, Dr. Marva Hill. I would like to share with you this morning some of the awesome qualities about this person that we have visiting with us today. Today we have Miss Angel Forrest, and she is from HIMA PTC, and she's going to share with us a little bit about her journey and about what HIMA PCT represents. So I want to welcome to the studio this morning Miss Angel Forrest. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Now, Miss Forrest, I'd like to begin by having you to give us a little bit of information about your background and who you are. I want to know who's behind the name Angel Forrest.
Yes, ma'am. So, again, my name is Angel, and I was actually born on Christmas Day. That's how I got my name. Very unique. At once upon a time, my parents used to tell me, well, we were going to name you Christmas. And I was like, well, thank you for not doing that. So, my name is Angel, and I definitely try to live up to my name. So, I have very, very supportive parents parents. My mom is no longer with me, but I definitely have supportive parents and supportive family that helps me to be the person that I am today.
Where did you grow up in Texas?
I am originally from Port Arthur, Texas.
Okay.
Born and raised. That's my home. So.
And you're from a family of how many siblings?
Oh my God. Let's see. Counting half and
Count the halves. They count.
4, 5.
A family of five siblings. That's wonderful. And a mother and a father?
Yes.
Okay. And did you have extended family to help you with growing up?
Yeah. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a family, so it definitely had a village there.
So you were from the village of...
The Forrest family.
The Forrest family.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's wonderful to
Yes.
know. Now, with that village, tell me some of the things that you learned from your early family life. Some of the lessons that your parents instilled in you.
Well, let me say this: my dad is an old-fashioned guy. Everything he does, still to this day, he's old-fashioned. Everything is just. Well, I'm old. Anytime I say something, he's like, well, I'm old-fashioned, so I'm going to tell you. And I'm like, Dad, it's a new day and age. You got to get with the program. But that's what I grew up under. I grew up under how things were done back in the day. And that's how I was raised. So, and like I said, I grew up around a lot of people that were older than me. So I have a very old soul. So, it was definitely a struggle. I can definitely say it was a struggle. My dad was hard on us, but I know that it was for a good reason, and that's why I am the person that I am today.
What are some of the what is one lesson that you definitely learned from your father that you didn't learn from other people in your family?
My dad was a family-oriented person, so one thing that he kept telling us and always stayed with me was family first. Always keep your family first. Like, still to this day, he'll tell me, family is your priority. Your family is your priority. So that stuck with me. That's why I'm so family oriented. I love my family. I love being around my family.
And what about your mother? What lessons did you learn from her?
Oh man, my mom, rest her soul, she's no longer with us, but she was a go-getter. My mom. She is crazy because my mom had a desire to be her own business owner. She had a desire to be an entrepreneur. She wanted to have her own Philly cheesesteak restaurant, and which she did before she passed away. She fulfilled that dream right here in Houston, Texas. So she was a go-getter. She would give you the shirt off her back. She loved her grandkids. She was very family-oriented. But she was a go-getter. She never gave up. She kept pushing every day. Every day she kept pushing.
Now, you mentioned that your family, your mother is no longer with you, but that you learned a lot from your family. What extended family did you have the benefit of knowing and actually learning from?
So I would definitely say there's not a lot of motivation, I would say, in either side of my family. I don't know too many. I don't know of any really entrepreneurs or people who actually went that far in my family, that went that far as I am. I right now I could just say me and my brother, or we, like, my brother has his own barbershop. Like, he's an entrepreneur. Everybody else is just, at that level where it's like no motivation. But I think that's what motivated me the most, because I was like, I want to do something better. I want to move past your experience. I know you experienced this or that, and you maybe wanted to go. You experienced something and wanted to go to a different level or advance yourself, but wasn't able to because of whatever reasons. But when I look at that, it motivated me, because I was like, I want to do better, or I want to go further.
Now, tell me how all of those motivating factors led you to HIMA PTC.
So definitely, when I was 17, I started taking care of my grandmother, and she was sick. She was a diabetic, and she was an amputee. And I had to learn. My mom was working, and I had to learn how to take care of her. I had to learn to give her insulin, her medications, and she taught me. She was like, "This is how you do it." I'm 17 years old. I'm like, "A needle?" I was like, "Okay, let me," at 17 years old, and you got a needle in your hand, you're like, "What do I do with this?" That's when I was first introduced to the needle. Okay. My grandmother, I had to give her medicine, her insulin. And when she passed away, it was very, very hard on me. So I knew then that I had a desire to want to care for other people and take care of elderly people, or take care of anybody for that matter. I was called to do that. So that's just a desire. And it led me to the medical field after taking care of people for a long period of time, till I was about maybe 21 or 22 years old. I enrolled myself in college in Atlanta, Georgia, and went to school. I struggled to finish, but I finished. I struggled to finish, but I did finish, and I knew that was my calling, and I knew that's where God was leading me.
So you mentioned that you went to school in Atlanta, Georgia. How did you come to go to school in Atlanta, Georgia, when you grew up in Texas? Tell me what happened with that.
So my last year, actually my junior year of high school here in Texas, in Port Arthur, Texas, shout out to Memorial High School. I went there, and then I had my mom. We left due to some unforeseen circumstances. We went through a lot of things, and it was just me and my mom. My brothers had already graduated. I'm the youngest, by the way. I'm the baby, so all of my brothers are older than me. And so it was just me left, and it was just me and my mom. After my grandmother passed, that's when she passed when I was in high school. That's why I was taking care of her. And after she passed, my mom was like, "Yeah, we gonna move on." So she was like, "It's either Virginia or Atlanta. Which one?" So we ended up taking a trip to Virginia. We explored. I had an older brother that was already living in Atlanta. So then we went to Atlanta, and we visited over there, and he showed us around everything. And my mom was like, "Which one? You want to go to Atlanta, or you want to go?" I was like, "Mom, we for real? We moving?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, Atlanta." And then, one thing led to another. She got a job. She found a place for us to stay. And I moved to Atlanta, and finished my last year of high school there. And it's crazy because my mom actually, when I graduated in 2005, my mom left Georgia and moved back to Texas. And I was just there. And she was like, "You coming back home with me?" I was like, "I'm not coming." I got it so adjusted to the life of the city life, And I was like, "No, I'm not going back." I was young. I was 20. I was 21, and I was like, "I am not going back to Texas. I'm staying here." I was in love with it, And but she actually left and moved back to Texas. And my brother was there, like I said, so I had somebody. I did have somebody. And I stayed out there. Got married, had 2 beautiful daughters, and it was just up. It was up from there for me.
Okay. Now, you in our one of our earlier conversations, you talked about the fact that God actually paved the way for you because you were from a broken family.
Yeah.
So tell us how you operated out of that brokenness.
Well, it was hard. It definitely, with me being the only girl and being the youngest, it was definitely hard because a lot of times I felt left out, or I felt, I'm like, man, because my dad was definitely hard on my brothers. He was like, if you ever seen that movie Lean on Me, he was like Joe Clark. Like, we used to laugh and clown, but we used to call my dad Joe Clark because he was just like that. He that's how he operated his household, and which I still think is a good thing because it helped us today. But it was just hard because we had to get adjusted to, his wife, our stepmom, and it was just like we didn't have a choice. We didn't have a choice. We had to just go with it, because that's what it was. As a child, you don't have choices. Your parent, whatever your parents do, you go along with it. But then as you grow up, you start thinking like, man, you think about your childhood and think about the things that you went through. Like, man, I didn't have a choice to decide. And because when things start happening, things start unfolding as an adult, you start realizing the things that you went through as a child. And sometimes it's not fair, but I feel like everything happens for a reason. God has definitely paved the way for me and brought me through, and it motivated me and made me the person who I am today.
Now, you talked about your mother and learning from her that to be a go-getter, and you talked about your father being a strict disciplinarian. So how did those two lessons lead you to HIMA? How did that happen? I know you went to school in Georgia, but how did that happen? I mean, walk me down that road.
So when I went to school in Atlanta, and I graduated, I struggled to try to find a job afterwards. I struggled. And I ended up having to take out student loans to go to school. And, I struggled because I struggled paying my student loans back. I start and stopped and started and stopped. And here I am stuck with these student loans. And at that time, we don't realize it. A lot of times we don't realize what we're doing when we enroll in college, or, I wasn't fortunate enough to have a scholarship. I had to get financial aid. I had to, get that to go to school, that assistance. My mom, my dad, no one in my family could afford for me to go to college, And so I struggled on and off to do that. And then once I did finish, I struggled to find a job in Georgia specifically. And then things happened in my life where God called me to come back home to Texas. And soon as I came back home, it was like the door was open. He was just like, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, you mean to tell me all I had to do was come back home? So I came back home and doors were just opening for me. And then I actually, crazy enough, when he opened that door, I decided to close that door myself, and God sometimes he shows us things. And I jumped up and me and my kids went back to Georgia for 3 months. And 3 months later, God brought me right back home to Texas and said, you know what? I told you to stay where you were at, So I've been back home ever since, and I did not leave. I'm still here, and I know God has called me to be here because of who I am today.
So how long has HIMA PTC been in existence?
We actually make 2 years on November the 18th, and I'm excited because our anniversary is coming up.
That's wonderful. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
So what are some of the offerings that HIMA PTC has for people who are interested?
So we definitely have, we started off with phlebotomy.
Okay.
Phlebotomy. And what that is that's where phlebotomy is where you do venipunctures, or you draw labs for doctors that needs test results for different patients and things of that nature. And it's easy, it's quick, it's something fast for you if you want to just get your foot in the door in the medical field. I think is a great start to definitely get your foot in the door for as anything in the healthcare. It's a trade, it's a skill set. We also teach medical assistant. Now that is a 7-month program, which it includes everything. It's not just phlebotomy. It includes EKG. It includes so many different things under the medical assistant. And medical assistant is actually in high demand more than phlebotomy right now. It's in high demand for the workforce. And we are a Texas workforce career center. So we are listed with the Texas workforce. And we recently just added another program called Personability, which I'm so excited about because...
Tell me about that. Tell me about personability. What is that, and what does that mean for someone who is just starting out in the medical arena?
The Personability Course, what that does is it actually helps develop your essential soft skills.
Okay.
And a lot of people, I was just talking to someone yesterday that was enrolling in that class, and I was telling her, I was like, a lot of times we don't really realize how we communicate with other people. And one of the biggest things that I like about this course, it teaches and it talks about the communication. It talks about self-awareness, and I know this is Self-Awareness Month or Mental Health Awareness Month. This touches a lot of that. It gets in deep with it, and it actually makes you think. And the self-awareness part of it is just being aware of self, being aware of your thoughts. And a lot of times when somebody's talking to us, we have other things going on in our head, so we hear them, but we're not actually listening. And so it's just being aware of yourself, your surroundings, how you present yourself, your reputation, the things and stuff like that you're doing, communication. And it also talks about emotional intelligence. And that is a deep one because a lot of times we think we're okay, and then sometimes we let our emotions get in the way.
Absolutely.
And this course is actually, I think is a great, great deal because, so many of us need it. Even I needed it when I looked at it. And it helps for you to enhance yourself, and it helps you when you get ready to go into the workforce. It doesn't have to be the medical field. It could be any type of job related. It doesn't matter what it is. And I just really think it's a good thing for anyone. And another thing is that, most employers, they're looking for the ability for you to be able to communicate well, to follow instructions, show empathy, and be professional. Professionalism, I'm so big on that. And like I told you, I wasn't always like that. Somebody had to teach me. So now I really think it's so important when anyone is going into the workforce, like professionalism is a big thing. And it says the needed skills along with, you get a national certification as well. That is paramount when you're trying to get hired on any job, And so a lot of times the first places that this shows up is on your resume, your cover letter, your thank you letter. And sometimes people, don't have the right resume when they go. So this course actually helps with all that. And the benefits of the course is you get that resume, you get that cover letter, you get that thank you letter. You get a certificate, and this is stuff that you can put on your resume. And I just really think it's a great course. We're trying to get more people to take that. You don't have to be going into the medical field for it. You can already be at somewhere wherever you're working at right now, and it will just enhance your soft skills. It will just enhance where you're at now in advance. You never know. It could lead to a promotion to, wherever you're at, that promotion that you've been waiting for. This is a really good skill set to have.
That's wonderful. It makes me think of when I started out with education. I initially was teaching speech classes, public speaking, and one of the courses that I had to take was interpersonal communication. And because I was on the broadcast journalism track, I didn't really realize how important interpersonal communication was, because I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to be doing the news, if I'm going to be hosting shows, if I'm going to be doing this, that, and the other, I just need to hold a conversation with people. I didn't take into consideration that my bedside manner had a whole lot to do with how successful my modes of communication would be. So I think that's very important, because what you're teaching is something that people can use across the gamut with regard to careers, no matter what they go into. Now, tell me about the cost effectiveness of taking these courses.
Okay, so there is a with the courses there is a tuition.
Okay.
There is a tuition, but let me just say this before we get into that.
Okay.
I told you earlier that I had to take out student loans when I was in school, and I got stuck having to pay all of these student loans back. This program, HIMA Professional Training Center, was actually designed to help people stay out of student loan debt.
That's
It was
interesting.
designed for you not to be in student loan debt, for you to go to work debt free with student loan, not having to worry about paying a student loan back. So what I did was I designed these programs so that it's very, very inexpensive. It's a soft cost for each program, and you can get it done in less time versus community colleges or anything like that where you'll be going for more than a year and then you got to take out these student loans. We're not like that. However, we do have a additional funding resource that we can help you with.
Tell me about that.
So what it is, we just partnered up with a company called Meritize, and what they do is a private education lender. It is a lender, but it's maxed out at the tuition. You can't go in there and ask for more than what the tuition is. So that means, guess what? You're not going to be paying back more than what the tuition is, And even if you don't want to do that, we actually have payment plans set up for people where they can pay based on how they get paid. If you get paid biweekly, if you get paid weekly, however, you can pay that. And guess what? And that's what we promote. We promote that more than anything because at the end of the day, we don't want you to have to go to school. We don't want you to have to finish school paying back on the student loan. We want you to go to work stress-free.
That's wonderful because I grew up at a time when you could either get a grant or you can get a loan.
Yeah.
And my mother was like, "No, it's cash and carry. I'm not having anything hanging over my head." And I'm glad that she told me that because down the road I encountered people in my professional career who still had student loan debts and 10, 20, 30 years later, they're still calling about, a $3,000 loan that you took out when you were 20.
Yeah.
So it does make a huge difference in having the opportunity to work through a source that will allow you to pay back only what you borrowed is absolutely phenomenal because that with student loans there's an interest fee and there longevity and other things that they tack on to it. So I can definitely understand that. Now you said that each course is different in length. How long is the phlebotomy class?
The phlebotomy class is 5 weeks long. Okay. It's not every day, it's every other day.
Okay.
And so it's not something we don't take too much of your time, but we do spread it out. That way you can get it done within a 5-week course.
Is it morning or evening?
Right now we're offering all day classes. Okay. We don't have any night classes, but you are able to do these classes online. Okay. You are. We have online available. Okay. So you can be anywhere in Texas and you can chime in with us.
That's wonderful. Now, is the online capability available for all of the classes? Or
it is.
It is?
It is.
Even for personability?
Personability, definitely 100% online. You can do that now with the medical assistant and phlebotomy. You can do the lecture part online. Okay. But we will be here at Bethel's once a week or twice a week to do your clinicals, your hands-on. First of all, we do a lot of hands-on we actually have a campus in Nederland, Texas, where we have the actual school, and we do a lot of we have labs there, classrooms, and we do a lot of hands-on. But if you're not able, you are able to chime in with us online, and then if you're in Houston, you can come to Bethel's once or twice a week for your clinicals.
Okay. Now, the clinicals, tell me about clinicals. Are they just lab work for someone who doesn't know? When you talk about clinicals, what does that mean as opposed to doing the lecture?
So the clinicals is your hands-on skill set. It's the actual physical hands-on that you'll be learning, all the different skills that you learn as a medical assistant. The labs that you learn as a phlebotomist. It's just the skill set, all the physical activity that you do when you're learning how to, you're getting these skills to learn how to take care of people. So when you go out into the field, it's back office, it's clinical. So clinical is your physical hands-on, and then you have clerical, where clerical is more administrative.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know the difference, so that's the reason that I
Yeah.
asked you to clarify.
Mm-hmm.
So with regard to the clinicals, there are different tasks. Like I know that you talked about the capillaries and what
Yeah.
are some of the other tasks that they would have to do while taking clinicals?
Yeah, so like with the phlebotomy course, you learn how to actually draw blood. You learn about the different veins that we have. And the importance of a phlebotomist is that when a patient goes to the doctor's office and maybe they are about to get diagnosed with something, but guess what? You have to do lab work. The doctor's ordering labs, and guess what? The doctor is dependent on that phlebotomist to accurately get them labs and in a timely manner so that they can diagnose the patient or get any treatment, whatever treatment is needed for that patient. So it starts with the phlebotomist. It's the doctor is depending on the phlebotomist.
That's wonderful. And it's important that you say that because I can think of my own personal experiences going to the doctor. And every time I go to the doctor, no matter what kind of doctor it is, if it's a cardiologist, if it's an endocrinologist, even if it's just my primary care physician, there's always a request for a lab for this, a lab for that. I mean, you have to go to a specialist to get all these things. And I think a lot of people fail to understand how these other careers come into play with that doctor's visit. So
Most
that's
definitely.
very, very important. But the results, those are paramount to
Yes.
getting proper diagnosis for whatever condition,
Yeah.
a person is going through. So I think that's very important that we, actually understand exactly what comes into play with regard to the medical field, because a lot of people just don't understand it.
They don't. And there's a lot of people that's out in the medical field right now that I feel don't need to be in the medical field because you have a lot of people. If you're not a people person, then you don't belong in healthcare. So I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you're not a people person, you don't belong in the healthcare field. You have to have a desire. You have to be a people person. You have to have a desire to do this because you're actually, someone else's life is in your hands.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think you mentioned early on what's most important. You talked about the caregiving that you had to give to your grandmother. And I think once you've had an opportunity to actually work with somebody and to give them that personal care that they need medically, that's where you develop your passion, and I can see that that's where you develop yours. In caring for your grandmother, that's where you develop your passion. It's just incredible that your desire to give people care or to care for people who are sick has led you to the teaching part of all of it. And as I shared with you earlier, teaching is sharing. So it's important that we're able to share, and I think it's wonderful that you have found the opportunity to share in so many different venues. What other courses are you looking to add to HIMA?
In the future, we are actually looking to expand, and we want to actually go ahead and add billing and coding, and clerical administrative assistant, because we know that they're needed too. It's just as important. Front office is just as important as back office.
Absolutely.
So they need those people. I mean, anything in the healthcare field is definitely, it's a demanding, it's a thriving field, and I mean, anything in the healthcare is always important and vital.
That's interesting that you said that. When I grew up, everything that was connected to medicine, the doctor did it or the nurse did it. And now that the field itself is branched off into these other career opportunities, it just shows people that you will always have a job. If you work with regard to medicine, you'll always have a job. That's what I tell people about teaching. So it's I think it's incredible that you have found the balance, the combination.
It's rewarding. It is a very rewarding career because you get the chance to help somebody else, and that's what it's all about, helping other people.
So tell me one of your most rewarding experiences. You don't have to mention any names, but I just want to know one of your most rewarding experiences, whether it's in the classroom or actually giving care to someone.
I would definitely say most rewarding for me is when my students cross over that line of success. I mean, because a lot of times I get students that come in, they don't know the first thing about a needle, or they're like, oh my God, a needle or blood. And one thing that gets them is that I always do first day, we always doing hands on the first day. It's like, we about to do this right now, like right now. And I found that was the only way that they would learn, and that we just get right into it. And I mean, every student has loved that. Every student has success. We have a 98% pass rate. So, I mean, when a student actually finishes, pass their certification test, get hired, and still working in that field today, I get a lot of students who call me and say, "Oh man, I just thank you," and I check on all my students just to make sure that everything's okay, that they're still doing good. And when I hear those success stories, that right there is enough reward for me, because I know that I've impacted someone else. Because I've been down that road already. So to be able to impact a community of people who's looking to go into healthcare is very rewarding for me.
I think you said a mouthful, because impacting that one person means that you have an opportunity to impact a community.
A community.
And that speaks volumes to the profession and to all of the things that you're teaching in the classrooms at HIMA.
Yes.
I think it's wonderful. Now tell us about HIMA. Where you mentioned that you have a location in Nederland. So tell us about the Nederland location and what you're doing here in Houston.
So we have a location in Nederland, Texas, that is in the Beaumont region area. It is at 2300 Highway 365, Suite 110 in Nederland, Texas. That is our actual campus. The phone number is 409-300-4218. And we also branched off here at Bethel's to do our classes. So we are here in Houston as well. We're actually looking to expand to other areas such as Dallas, Fort Worth area. So, I mean, y'all be on the lookout, because we may be coming to your area.
That is wonderful. Now, in both locations, what days of the week are people able to access you, to have access to you?
So we're open Monday through Friday and you can call us anytime between the hours of 9:30 to 2:30 p.m.
Okay.
Anytime. So we also have a website at www.HIMAPTC.com. That's HAIMAPTC.com.
Okay. All right. That's very, very interesting, because a lot of times people, you just never know who's going to look at the podcast and who will receive the information. And so it's important for them to know that you are operating out of two locations, and that they can take the classes online. That's important also.
Yes.
And that there is assistance with regard to
Funding.
the funding and what have you. That's very, very important. But I think most important is what you said about the personability class, and how that class can lead them to success in other careers.
So you don't have to be going into the medical field for this. Again, employers are looking for this. They're looking for them essential soft skills. They are looking for that rather than you having the skill set, the physical skill set.
Okay. And what other advice would you give to someone who is looking to enhance their career options as they look into medical careers?
Medical careers. I would definitely say getting started in the medical field and healthcare, I think HIMA is a really, really good start for you. There's a lot of colleges or community colleges that are shutting down like today, and due to a lot of financial, due to a lot of whatever's going on. But I can guarantee you, I mean, here at HIMA, we will get you started in the healthcare field. And I think medical assistant, phlebotomy, even personability, I think all of them are good. It's a good start for you to get your foot in the door and just to enhance those skills. I mean, even taking medical assistant or phlebotomy, you have to take the personability. You can't even take the class without taking the personability. So either way, you're going to get the enhancement. You're going to get an advancement in whatever field you're going into. It's already going to be with you, and it's going to stick with you.
Okay, that's wonderful. And again, the personability class is how long?
The personability class, the one that we're doing that's coming up, I'm believing we're going to start next Saturday.
Okay.
It's going to be 4 Saturdays.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
4 Saturdays.
And those are 3-hour sessions, 4-hour sessions?
About 4 to 5 hours.
Okay. Okay. So 4 to 5 hours, and it's 4 Saturdays. So it's just a 4-week course.
Yeah. But we're going to do it over a course of just 4 Saturdays because we know people work and people, so we're trying to spread it out so we can have more people to be able to chime in with us.
And the people who are here in Houston, is that going to take place on the campus of Bethel's Place in
Yes.
Powers? Okay.
Yes, it will be here. So we highly recommend that you come in so you can get that experience, because we do a lot of group activities and things like that. So
That is wonderful. Well, Miss Angel, I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. I can tell you that a lot of what you said, I know that people can definitely connect to because, out of our own experiences, we know sometimes what it feels like to be in situations where it's not optimal,
Yeah.
but you are able to push past those obstacles and you can become highly functional. And I think that is exactly what you have done, moving from a state of brokenness into a state of high functionality and a state of success. And I commend you for that. I would like to thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you.
Everything that you shared, and for enlightening people and sharing with them that they too can overcome every obstacle and achieve some level of success, but you have to be a go-getter and you have to have
most
self-discipline, those 2 lessons that you learned from your parents.
Most definitely.
So I think that's very, very important. And I thank you for telling us about personability, about the phlebotomy, and about the medical assistance, because a lot of times we don't know how we factor into different career arenas. And when you share that, it means something when a person can see themselves, their own personality, walking through a particular mode. So I'm glad that you explained it the way that you did. I'd like to thank Ms. Angel Forrest for being with us today. Certainly we have been enlightened. We have definitely been informed. She has definitely increased our awareness of what the medical field has to offer. And she's also showed us that, you can get a lot done just having a variety of career options. So thank you again, Ms. Angel. And thank you for taking out the time to explain in detail what people really, really need to hear.
Thank you.
Because that shows us how much of a caregiver you really are.
Thank you.
So
thank you for having me.
Thank you. And again, thank you all for joining us in Studio B. If you are joining us by Facebook, by Instagram, by Twitter, please like us, share us, let everyone know that we are here, because HIMA is going to make a difference in somebody's life. It can be in your life. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.